Hey everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. We are starting another week-long reading vlog today. In case you missed my last vlog, I am vlogging for the rest of July every week while I complete the Summer Splash Readathon. In the last vlog, I finished 3 books. I'm hoping that this vlog will be the same. I took the jacket off, but I am currently reading Essential Labor by Angela Garbes. This is a nonfiction book examining sort of like the unpaid labor that people provide when they are caretaking for children. She uses the word mothering to cover all genders, birthing parents or not, as the work that goes into raising children, being compassionate, and how a lot of people have to work jobs and give a mental load outside of that while also providing for their children, and how it's exhausting and thankless, but it can also be revolutionary. I'm only about 30 pages in so far. She's really just been framing it around her experience as a mother of 2, as a parent in the pandemic whose job was like the least useful one. She wasn't relied on for health insurance or like the reliable paycheck, and so she finds herself as a woman of color, the child of immigrants, and being forced to rely on her white husband's income and sort of the complicated feelings that came with that. She's looking at her own parents' journey from the Philippines to the United States in the 60s. So it's just very interesting so far. I really like her writing. It's very accessible and informative. I feel like I've already learned so much about immigration from people in the Philippines specifically to the United States during the 60s, as they were kind of hoping for more like skilled laborers to come over, such as her parents, who were a doctor and a nurse. I'm excited to read that. I'm not sure what I will read next. I packed up all of my books in the last vlog, and so I don't really have that many out. I do have a lot of the books that I had saved for my TBR, but I just finished watching The Bear on Hulu, and so now I just find myself wanting to read Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. I've just been trying to scheme my way into fitting it into one of the bingo sheets. So I might read that soon, or maybe start She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb, since that is the biggest book on my TBR. This week is also going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to get tattooed today. I'm just wanting something small, a little last souvenir before we leave Chicago. I am getting my hair cut on Wednesday, and my brother is coming on Friday, so hoping to kind of start crossing things off of my Chicago bucket list with him and go to some of our favorite restaurants and bars. Not much of an update right now, but I will hopefully do better this week at recording the things that I'm doing, because last week I kind of dropped the ball and I was just a chatty Cathy more than anything. So looking forward to bringing you guys along with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I didn't film a reading update yesterday because I didn't really have one until later in the day. But yesterday, you guys didn't miss much. I worked. I spent a lot of time on FaceTime with my mom and my sister. And my husband, he got home from work a little bit early, so we just kind of hung out together before I had my tattoo appointment. I'll put a picture up here right now. It's just like kind of wrapped and gross looking, but I got my son's name and I really love it. I went and I saw Blair at Family Tattoo. Just seemed very fitting. I wanted like one last little tattoo before we moved, and Family Tattoo is actually where I got my first tattoo forever ago, like 13 years ago. I got my tattoo. We had some Mexican food, and my husband, he was just really tired from getting up so early for work, so I did some reading later in the evening. Today I am finally getting my hair cut. I'm so excited. These bangs have not been it. It does kind of bum me out because like with this tattoo and my haircut, all of these like last times at these places where I like them. You know, I love my hairstylist, my nail person, I love my dentist as much as you can love a dentist. We love our pediatrician. It's just all of these people that we've been established with, and I feel like they're things that are like hard to find. Like finding a dentist you love is like nearly impossible. So it's just like a reminder of how much we're kind of starting from scratch in Michigan. I know my family there, but we don't have a ton of friends. We don't know anything by way of a pediatrician for Wolf yet, schools in the future, anything like that. So just kind of a little bummer. But last night I did end up getting to about the 50% mark. I just passed 100 pages and I'm now into part 2. I am still liking it, but I am having some like complicated feelings so far. I'm definitely not thinking that this will be a 5-star read for me already. This book reads at its best when she is focused on the more personal aspects of her experience with motherhood, building a community during the pandemic so that her children still had other kids to play with and that her and her husband didn't like completely lose their minds, as well as the family dynamic between herself and her family in the Philippines and all of her extended family that have since immigrated to the United States. Those parts are the strongest. There are definitely a lot of facts in here about the labor performed by women, lots of very infuriating stats, such as, according to Oxfam, if women around the world made minimum wage for all the unpaid hours of care work they performed in 2019, they would have earned $10.9 trillion. In America alone, they would have earned $1.5 trillion. So it's like a lot of things like that, different bills or efforts that have been made throughout the last several decades in order to pay women for care work, and just how disproportionately it is in America, where a lot of care work falls on Black and brown women specifically. Sometimes though there are some facts or the more data-driven information that seems a little disjointed. I feel sometimes like I'm reading 2 different books within this one, where we have this sort of analytical look at motherhood throughout history and the work that it is and how valuable it actually is, but also how undervalued it is. But then we also get these like family anecdotes, and so it kind of reads a little bit different, and there's the thread tying them together is not super strong. I was reading some reviews last night too, which is like a toxic trait of mine, to start reading reviews before I've even finished a book. But she does get some criticism in here for her lack of attention to disability and how that can impact the way that somebody caretakes and mothers. She writes a lot about the physicality and like the physical labor of keeping up a house, of taking care of your children. And I did just read, she dedicates about like 2 pages to a very sort of like detached things you already know about what it would mean to live disabled in America, and how accessibility is not always like at the forefront of things like city planning or home building and things like that. And it's very much through her own personal lens. She's writing about the house that she buys with her husband, and she kind of becomes acquainted with the previous owners. And they had to sell the house after they did all of this work because her husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and the stairs and things like that had become an issue, or they're kind of like planning for when his disease became more advanced. And so that kind of forces her to examine her own body and her own vitality, and like what's going to happen if someday she gets older and can't go up the stairs. And she admits that she didn't even really think about it until her 40s, how people live with disability and how accessibility is such a huge problem here. And as she writes about it still, it's very much through a centered lens. So just something to be mindful of. I am also a little bit disappointed that she hasn't focused much on how other genders can mother children. She has that hook in the beginning of mothering kind of encompasses all genders, caretakers, birthing parents, adoptive parents, etc. And so far she hasn't touched on that about 50% of the way through. I think it would be really interesting. She has mentioned the nuclear family and its problems, and how two parents is often not enough to raise children. It takes a village. And she writes about this big extended chosen family that they've created to raise their children with, essentially. But she hasn't talked about any sort of non-binary parents, any non-straight couples, how a family of two dads, like how would they mother their children, especially when she's writing about this as being a way to really change the world. So I'm hoping she gets to that. I'm hoping it wasn't just like an inclusivity hook, because I have really been looking for books that are a little bit more inclusive in their language as it relates to pregnancy and parenthood. So that's all I've got for right now. Sorry for the ramble. I am going to get back to work. Wolf is napping. It is hot as shit outside today, so I think that once he wakes up and I'm done with work, we'll have some lunch and maybe play with his water table outside. And Peter, my husband, is going out with his friend after my haircut. So once he is out with his friend, I'm probably just going to do a lot of reading this evening. Hey everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. Just thought I would do another introduction in case you guys didn't recognize me with this new haircut. It is a little shorter than I thought it was going to be, but it's gonna grow back, and I also probably won't be getting a haircut for a minute after this one, so it's fine. Yesterday we had a pretty low-key day. Wolf and I played outside with his water table before it got too hot. We had smoothies, great time, got my hair cut, and then my husband went out to get some drinks. So I just spent some time at home, and I laid on my bed of needles, which I sometimes forget that I have, but then when I actually remember it, it just feels so nice. It says that there are all these benefits. I don't know if they're real or not, but in the moment, it just feels really nice to have this like sharp pressure applied all over your back. And I did quite a bit of reading. I think yesterday I was around the 100-page mark, and now I think I'm around like page 170. And I still do feel like this book is a little bit disjointed. I really was expecting it to be more about a general look at motherhood and how we can better mother our children to create this better life, or, different steps that can be made to make mothering like a actual paid job, or for it to be taken more seriously. She even says at the beginning of the book that she felt a little cringe about writing a motherhood book. And I wish that was explored a little bit more, and how we can sort of start reversing that mentality, because I've read 2 books in the last 2 months that have had that same general feeling. And I feel like motherhood and that experience can't be taken seriously without more people sharing their perspective. And so that is what it is. I think I still really like the more personal aspects of the book. I think that's what is the strongest. She does dedicate a couple of pages to discussing disability and how she personally is taking steps to discuss it with her daughters, the different ability levels of different people, and how all bodies are different and work different, and no matter what, they're still great. And it is like a lead up right to a chapter about movement and her like obsession with her dance class that she started taking, and how she moves her own body. And so there's just like these things where they just don't flow well together, or like it doesn't feel relevant to the thesis of this book, if that makes sense. Like, it's all like really cool to read, and like I really love her writing. It's just when we're thinking about like the theme of the book, it just doesn't all fit. It is still very much a laser focus, or like a limited scope to her own personal experience. She doesn't quite open it up to how other people can do these things, or it's mostly like her own personal experience raising daughters. I did really like, there's a chapter about women are expected to be a certain way and subscribe to a different body standard, and how she wants to raise her daughters to eat when they're hungry and not think about restricting themselves to be smaller, and how she wants to encourage that like healthy relationship with food. I really liked that part, and I think that could have just been a really great opportunity for more information that was relevant. I don't know. It's good, but at the same time, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's going to be a tough one to rate, because the strong parts are super strong. The not so great parts are like not bad, but just kind of not what I was thinking it would be. So that's my update. I will probably finish this book today. Hopefully going to be doing some more packing. It's like almost 100 degrees here today, so we might do some more playing outside before we do all of that. We just got the text from our realtor that the sellers of our house are officially moved out. We did give them like 60 days to live in the home, and so they're done early. So they are completely moved out. We're hoping to make a trip to Detroit next weekend with the van to start like moving some of our more fragile stuff and things that we don't necessarily want to like throw in the back of a huge truck on actual moving day. But very exciting. It's just kind of starting to feel more real now. All of our art is pretty much taken down. We've packed up our books. We're packing up like our non-essential items like board games and like records and things like that. But it is making like a noticeable difference around the apartment, with like things looking a little emptier. I mean, we do have this like mountain of boxes behind me, but definitely feeling more real, and we're just excited. Like I said, mixed feelings about moving from Chicago. I've lived here for so long and honestly never thought that I would leave, but I think that there are good things to come. So got a lot to look forward to. It's going to be a busy weekend. My brother gets here tomorrow. I go to dinner with him. His girlfriend sails on Saturday, I think. They're spending the night somewhere where they can actually sleep on a bed before she's on a sailboat for 3 days. And then he'll be here Saturday night, and we're just hoping to have a really nice time, even though it's going to be hot as fuck this weekend. I think like the whole world is hot. Like everyone is hot right now. So hope you guys are staying cool, staying hydrated, And hopefully tomorrow I will have finished this book and we'll be started on another one, and we're both going to find out together what that is. Hey everyone, happy Friday. We made it to the weekend. I am so tired this week and I have finally started taking Fridays off. But we've got a busy day. It's not going to be all rest and relaxation over here. My husband is taking his driver's test today. My brother is coming to town today. So we've got some dinner plans and probably some drinks as well. And for the rest of the weekend, I have no idea. It's a total mystery to me at this point. I would like to go to the horror store. It's like a new kind of like horror memorabilia sort of store. I saw that they have this like horror themed bath products company there. So they have like bath bomb chunks of like unicorn blood and like sea creature and stuff like that. So now that we're gonna have a bathtub at our new house, I want to go and buy at least one of those things. I would like to also get to Bucket of Blood. I don't know if that's gonna happen this weekend, but they are doing a drive with the Illinois Satanic Temple where if you bring in period products, you get a discount in the store. So I have some leftover postpartum supplies that were unopened, so I am going to bring those in, and I'm hoping to maybe get The Ruins. I forget the author's name, but I've heard it's really good. Great summer read, so I think that's what's on my radar for this weekend. Last night, I also finished reading Essential Labor by Angela Garbez. I tried to find the book jacket for this, and it's lost. I have no idea where it is, but I ended up giving this one a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I did like a lot of it. I really liked a lot of the memoir aspects, or sort of like the calls to herself to like love her own body and things like that. I just think it really strayed kind of far from like the central thesis quite a few times. I feel like this book is more of like a memoir or an exploration for herself, her own relationship with her body and movement and connecting with nature. I feel like she did have a lot to say about different topics that sort of relate to like a female experience in terms of like body, like beauty standards and things like that. But in terms of like mothering specifically, she never did get into like the queer family dynamics or how, you know, other genders can mother, which is typically seen as like a female pursuit. But, you know, she had that in the opening that, you know, anyone can mother. So I would have liked to see that explored just a little bit more. And I think that it's definitely not something that can be utilized broadly. Like I said, it's very specific to her own experience. So there's not really like action items or anything like that to sort of bring about this like revolutionary way of mothering that she had mentioned. Essential Labor crossed off the summer readathon bingo box of book written by a woman of color. And then I started reading The Employees by Olga Raven. This is translated from Dutch, I think. And I'm reading this for the book that's outside of my comfort zone. This is very much a sci-fi book. And so far, I'm still finding my place in the world. It's only like 120 pages. I think I only got like 25 pages in last night. But from my understanding, it is these employees on a spaceship. Some of them are fully human and some of them are only half. And each page is written as a statement from one of these employees. Apparently they have come across like a new world of some kind, and they've brought in these objects, and some of them are living with these objects or have to tend to these objects. and they're kind of delivering their statements on what that has been like. Some of these objects are eliciting fear, some of them are eliciting arousal, some people are terrified of them, some people want to take care of them and enjoy the act of caring for these objects. We don't know what the objects are. There are no like characters really. These statements, these like people or half people, they don't have names or any sort of like characteristics that would allow us to follow their thread across all of these statements. The statements are also out of order, so that adds like another challenge to the whole thing. The writing so far, it is translated, but it's really creepy. There's a lot of really interesting observations being made, a lot of skepticism. These statements are made as part of like an interview to this organization that has like hired these individuals. And, some of them are like, wait, are these my real memories, or did you plant this? Or is this my hand, or did you do this? I thought I had this thought, but it's gone. Like, did you take it? So there's a lot of skepticism from these employees towards their employers. So it's kind of giving like Severance vibes in that way. If you've watched that show, this sort of like employer conspiracy with their employees. So even though I haven't quite found my footing with this yet, I have a feeling I'm really going to like it. It's very unsettling already. And I think it's one of those books where you really just have to go with the flow, trust the process with these like out of order statements and not really knowing who the characters are. I have a feeling that it's going to kind of build as time progresses with these statements, because based on the back of the book, it says that they're made over 18 months. So that's the employee so far. I think depending on what we get into this weekend with my brother, maybe I'll be able to finish it. He is not staying here tonight, but he is tomorrow. So maybe tonight, unless we make plans to like go out and get drinks or something once Wolf is in bed, I'll be able to do some reading. Hope you guys are gearing up for a great weekend, and I will be seeing you in the next update. Hey everyone, happy Sunday. If I look low-key, it's because I feel low-key. My brother left this morning. We had such a fun weekend. Got here on Friday. We went out to dinner, had some drinks, and then yesterday we got to go to lunch together and had more food and more drinks. We watched a lot of movies from like when we were younger, like Shrek and like the live action Scooby-Doo movie. And we played a lot of Mario Kart. So we had a great weekend. It was super fun. I did not do any reading, so I have no reading updates for you today. Yesterday, we did also make it to the new shop in Chicago called the Horror House. Have to be really careful with how you say it, but you probably just saw it in the clips. And it focuses on like horror memorabilia. So there's like horror themed apparel, candles, bath products, bowls, like just a lot of things related to horror. I went specifically because I saw on their Instagram that they had these like bath bomb chunks, which I did get. They were sea creature corpse themed, and they apparently smell like pina colada, but I haven't opened the bag yet. I also got a lotion scented like Fruity Pebbles, and that is absolutely accurate. Smells really good. The thing that was kind of funny, my husband and Wolf were with me and my brother, and along with all of the horror stuff, they have a lot of serial killer stuff as well. And everybody has their own bar for this. Like my husband and I both love true crime. And while I don't like love it, he was like, I could walk out of here right now because there's like a dress with like the mug shots of like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy and Charles Manson. There's like Pogo the clown rugs that are like handmade, so like that's cool, but it's still like the John Wayne Gacy clown. And like the Pogo the clown stuff is kind of lumped in with the clown character from like the Rob Zombie movies, like House of a Thousand Corpses. I forget his name, Captain something. With the arts, there's like Charles Manson stuff. And so I wasn't like so offended that I wanted to leave. Like I really wanted my bath bomb chunks. But it is just like interesting. I think there's like a difference between liking true crime and consuming that content. But there's like that very weird line between like liking true crime and sort of like inappropriately liking true crime. I love reading about the Manson family. I love reading about Jim Jones, all of these things, but I wouldn't like wear Charles Manson like on a shirt. And like to take it even a step further, when you start to think about it in terms of like the intersection of horror and true crime, you know, they are like closely linked. I think that a lot of true crime fans are probably horror fans and vice versa. I don't necessarily think it's fair to put a fictional horror character next to like a real life horror character. I think that just really blurs the lines. You know, it's like one thing to have a Michael Myers thing or like a Freddy Krueger thing or any other horror icon. It's a completely different thing to put a real life serial killer or murderer right next to them. My odds of running into like a John Wayne Gacy survivor or like a family member of a John Wayne Gacy victim is very, very, very slim. But it would just be so cringe to interact with somebody and just be wearing that. And that's not saying the people that own the store like bad people or not trying to give them like a 1-star Yelp rating or anything. It's just like an interesting conversation to have, I think. We felt the same way at the Museum of Death in New Orleans. We're really excited to go because we're into all the weird, like morbid stuff, and we were kind of looking forward to some aspects of it. But there are just certain things like seeing crime scene photos of like a pregnant Sharon Tate, like it's just not something that I ever need to see or like want to see as like a true crime consumer. Like the vibe was not exactly what we wanted. So it's very much the same thing, but just had to add that in there. Let me know what you guys think. Like, are you a true crime fan? How do you feel about expressing that interest of yours? I'm curious. This rant is like kind of for nothing. I am hoping in the next little bit here I'll be able to do some reading. I am going to work on editing this vlog so it can hopefully come up for you on Monday or Tuesday. To do a quick recap of this vlog, I finished reading Essential Labor by Angela Garbez. This was about a 3.75 star read for me. Also currently reading The Employees by Olga Raven. And this I am really enjoying so far. Wolf pulled my bookmark out, so I have to refine my place. But I am excited to see some more clarity on like what these objects are with the employees and how their feelings start to change. So I can't wait to see how that works out. We have one more week of vlogs for the rest of July. Next week should also be a little bit more exciting. I think I definitely got into my B-roll groove in this vlog. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was last week. I think I mentioned that we actually got the keys relinquished from the previous owners of our house. So we are going to go to the Detroit area on Saturday and just start seeing what we need to do. I think we're gonna have to figure out some paint pretty quickly, just kind of see if anything was left behind, do some quick cleaning, and just kind of acquaint ourselves with the house. We might sort of camp out there on Saturday or Sunday night. Hoping in our next vlog, I will be doing like an empty house walkthrough to show you guys what our new setup is going to look like. I am so excited. We've been waiting for so long. Buying a house is something that like we've wanted to do for years. And it always has felt a little out of reach here in Chicago. Like, houses here are just so expensive. Huge move, huge transition, but I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So really excited to get in the house, start making these little design changes. The style of the previous owners is like so much different than ours. And so it's kind of a lot of guesswork to see how things are going to work out. I'm excited to paint. I can't wait to start picking out colors that are more of our style, get some new curtains and things in there, and it's just going to be so much fun. I'm very much looking forward to it and getting settled in there, and that'll probably be the last time that we get to see the house before our moving day, which is just a couple days over 4 weeks away. And, you know, I'm not wishing away the rest of the summer, but I am eager to just get settled down. I kind of feel really weird trying to like dig behind boxes to get stuff and hoping that things that I've needed aren't already packed away and like digging around for that. But it's temporary. We'll be there so soon. So you can look forward to that in the next vlog. Please be sure to subscribe if you are new here. We got lots to look forward to in the next couple of months. And please be sure to like this video. It gives me a little confidence boost every single time. And please leave a comment down below. I know I didn't give you much reading content to work with, but let me know how the Summer Splash Readathon is working for you guys. Have you read Essential Labor? Have you read The Employees? Let me know. I love getting comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Happy reading and cheers!